Well, Craig, I know we got to vote the minutes, but other than that, we don't need to take any formal votes tonight. So we may just want to get started, and then this is recorded, right? So folks can still get the information who need it, and then we'll just have to vote the minutes at the next meeting if we don't get anybody else.
Sounds like a great plan.
Okay.
So I'll share my screen. Should be able to see that.
Yep.
All right, so tonight, as Mayor Nicholson pointed out, we'll table the previous meeting minutes. We do have a number of updates, procurement update, of course, construction update. There's a lot that's been going on. Ground improvements update. We actually have some work done in the field. And then something that this committee had asked about last time, a future solar parking canopy conduit exercise. We'll go over all, what we did when we get to that, and then we'll do a quick project schedule update and building committee meeting update. So we'll table this for now. All right, Lynn, would you like to take everyone through the budget update?
Sure. To date, we have committed 34% of the full budget and expended 20%. And construction is underway on the ground improvements. So we'll talk more about that later. In terms of our cash flow, we're significantly lower than what we had projected, basically due to the fact that our delay and then the fact that we have not recorded any expended use of all of our external contingencies at this point. So, do you want to take this? Do you want me to?
Yeah, you keep going.
Okay. In terms of, we do have a pre-GMP 6, which includes the buyout of the ground improvements, and it is currently circulating for signatures. It is not the final GMP because we still have some unknown costs that we're trying to firm up. And at that point, we will be issuing a final guaranteed maximum price. And that will include all of the unknown cost at this point. We hope to have all cost in by the end of July and be able to present the full cost in early August.
And now we've got some images to show you of progress on site. Brandon, would you like to take us through?
Certainly. Yeah. So in this drone shot from a couple weeks ago, you can see in the building footprint, we have the big piece of equipment that's installing earthquake drains. You actually see a bunch of them laid down kind of in the middle of the page here where that MWRA easement is. And we'll show you some more zoomed in looks after this. On the left side of the screen behind the existing Sisson School, you see the prep for the switchback ramp, which we've made great progress on, even more so than some of the photos we have here, because we had another placement since we put this presentation together. So that's what you can't see in this photo is the infiltration system work on the north side of the existing Sisson School that we're well through right now. So we continued with everything we can inside of areas on site that the school needs back come the beginning of the school year. So we've pushed hard on those and continue to do so throughout the summer. These are the zoomed in shots I mentioned of the earthquake drain. So this is what kicked off our restart of ground improvement scope. So on the left are the assembled earthquake drains, which is essentially a 4-inch diameter corrugated pipe with a filter sock tied on the outside of it. And on the right is the rig that installs them. So these vary between 25 and 35 feet deep. This rig is set up to vibrate them in where we can away from the sheets, which we've done successfully the last week and a half. So there's a total of 999 of them, roughly 400 of which will be drilled starting tomorrow. So we've done approximately 600 already, which is some great progress over about 5 working days.
Brendan, do you want to just give a little story about the sequencing of how this is going to go?
Yeah, so this was the first of multiple activities that we're going to complete relative to the redesign of the ground improvements overall. Next, happening in parallel is going to be on one half of the site, our rigid inclusions are going to start, which is, we kind of think of that as the replacement of the rammed aggregate piers that we had talked about as our original design. And then we have additional work towards the west side of the site to really firm up the sheets that we all know have moved when we did our work back in January. That scope of work is going to be happening concurrently on the west side of the site, closest to the school, while the school is still out of session, so we can get that whole thing firmed up, do our work close to the building, and try to work our way away from there as staff and students both come back right at the end of the summer. These are some shots of the infiltration systems I talked about. So on the left is south of the existing school in what is the parking lot and playground area. That's the subgrade prep that was complete, inspected by the civil engineer, and then we completed that and have since backfilled. On the right was the beginning of prepping for another infiltration system north of the school in the existing parking lot. We have now since excavated to subgrade and started to install those structures and backfill them with drainage stone as well. So again, we're well on our way to get these areas turned back over for the fall. These are some zoomed in pictures of the formwork and rebar for our foundation placement for the switchback ramp. So these are the footings. We've since been able to complete a wall pour, and they stripped that wall pour, which I didn't have photos in just because of the timing for this month. We have 3 more placements to get through the rest of the concrete scope, which we have scheduled over the next 2 weeks. And then we'll begin to backfill that area, field measure for our Miss Metals railings, and really get this place cleaned up again with the goal of getting this turned over before the end of the summer.
Thank you, Brandon. Maybe we can pause there if any of the committee members have questions. Great.
Craig,
So,
Craig,
yes.
I'm sorry, this is Deborah Giro. Can
Hi,
I
Deb.
just ask, are there any expected loss of parking spaces, play area when we return? I just want to prepare the school if there's anything that we're going to lose.
Nope. That will be returning everything back the way it was when we took it over at the end of this school year. So we'll get all the
Perfect.
fences moved back. We'll get everything paved back over where it was paved before. So you shouldn't see any loss on either playground or parking spots.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So our next topic is an update on the ground improvements process that we've been going through. So since last meeting, Terracon in conjunction with Keller, that's design engineer and installer, have completed the design of the earthquake drains, of course, as Brendan showed us. Many of them have already been installed, and that process is moving along quickly and smoothly. Those 2 companies have also completed the design of the rigid inclusion, so that's a major milestone. That work is now in peer review and pretty soon will be final and ready for installation. Simpson, Gumpertz, and Hager has completed their revised design of that supportive excavation, those sheet piles. That redesign includes, or augmented design includes, tiebacks, which will help hold sort of the top of those sheets, whalers, which will help hold the top of the sheets, and then jet grout piers, which will stabilize the bottom of the sheets to really lock those in so that the remaining construction activities can proceed. We've got 2 types of monitoring that are ongoing: movement monitoring, which is both checking on or continuously observing any movement at the existing Sisson Elementary, as well as Terracon has been monitoring the vibrations on site caused by construction activity. And the closer that work gets to the existing building, the more carefully that will be monitored. And then, as Lynn mentioned, consignedly prepared pre-GMP number 6, which includes this ground improvement scope. And Left Field continues to keep MSBA informed about the progress of the project. Any questions about that before we move on? Great. All right, so Jean, maybe I'll kick this off. Oh, I see Lorraine's got her hand up.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, was there any movement this month, like any more movement in the building? Or is that completely subsided? Like you're
Um,
measuring?
Yep. So, so the, right now, what's sort of ongoing is, or continuous is the monitoring of the exterior of Sisson. And so, those points, it's very accurate and it alerts us, oh, it appears that there's been a movement of 1/8 of an inch. And, the engineer, Simpson, Gumpton, and Hager will contact Consigli and say, hey, we're getting an alert. What are the activities? And what we have found is we've gotten many alerts that are thermally induced, right? The building just naturally moves like every building, do the warming during the day and cooling at night, or there'll be a piece of equipment that's in the line of, this is all sort of done by an automatic transit station. So it's like continually taking survey measurements, and there'll be a piece of equipment that's kind of in between the survey station and that point on the building. And so then that will sort of set off an alert.
But we
So
haven't
on the-
had any movement that is considered detrimental to the building or anything that's considered that would cause damage to the building.
Like Lynn, they used to, inside the building, I could see the cracks when I walked through there a couple of times, and there's no more cracks. Like, right? That's what I was asking Greg. I just
Right.
wanted to know if that movement stopped inside the building.
Yes, that's our understanding. And actually next time we meet with SGH, we'll ask them, because they also set little gauges on the cracks that had formed to see if they grow or shrink or change in any way. And during the school year, they were checking in on that. And we'll touch base with them and find out what the status is. We're actually meeting with them tomorrow morning. But as far as we know, there has been no additional movement. Any other questions before we move on? Great. So Gina, I was thinking I'll kick this off and then maybe turn things over to you once we get to some of the upcoming slides. As a reminder, last meeting, part of the discussion, we talked about that the committee said, hey, in the future, if we want to have photovoltaic arrays on canopies in the parking lot, what would that entail? What work could we do now to facilitate that? And so the design team went and provided some sketches, and Consigli went and looked at sort of a real rough order of magnitude cost, just so we would understand what's involved. We do not have any photovoltaic arrays in the scope of the project. The building, the new middle school, is designed to be solar ready, so that the city could put photovoltaic panels on the roof. And then what we were looking at with this exercise is, what about if we put conduits underground now for potential future solar canopies? So Gene, do you want to, I know this isn't one of the diagrams, but do you want to run through, your team did a quick analysis of the capacity of electrical equipment, the space in the rooms?
Yeah, no problem. We laid out canopies. I think there's a sketch that shows up in a slide or two in the parking lot. I think there were 7 different, it's kind of messy, but 7 different arrays that could be installed on steel above the parking spaces. And what we did is then, well, we worked with our electrical engineer, the project's electrical engineer, and they double checked that, yeah, we could run conduits out for these, and then we wanted to make sure that there would be no impacts to the electrical service in the building or the electrical equipment inside the building. So they did confirm that even if you had photovoltaic arrays up on the roof, and you had those 7 arrays in the parking lot, the electrical panels as are being installed can handle the combined kilowatts that would be generated sometime in the future if you had both of those running. So that was good news. And then there is sufficient space between the electrical room and the mechanical room to mount any required equipment should either of those arrays be installed. So if we went back to the layout again, so this was the rough sketch that went to the electrical engineer. And then I think the next sketch starts to show in this yellow. We thought that we'd ask consigli for kind of the minimum amount or pricing on the minimum amount of conduit right now. And it's this yellow line. Our thought was that we would run conduit from above the ceiling in the first floor, but near the exterior wall, like not all the way back to the electrical room. And then we'd run it underground so that we could get it under the MWRA lines and just cap it there. So we're not running it to every single array. We're just trying to make sure if the city does this in the future, they don't have to deal with MWRA, permitting, et cetera, like the conduit is from the building to, areas south of that line. So that's a series of conduits that, are in this yellow line. That if the city then, say 5 years from now, 10 years from now, said, hey, let's put the canopies up, at that point, with these yellow lines would be other conduits, some of which would be in the building, getting back to the main electric room, and the remainder getting to some of the other solar arrays. And I think that Consigli put ballpark prices on just the first phase, which was the previous slide, which is about $55,000. So that would, again, put you in the position where you don't have to go through permitting with the MWRA, and you don't have to kind of tear up certain parts of the site because some of the conduit would be in. So I'm not sure if that was a clear explanation, but that's kind of what's happened since the last meeting.
This is Rich. Can you guys hear me? I'm in
Yes.
my car.
Yep.
So under this crappy bill that passed in Washington, they changed all the dates in order to get the tax credits. Does anybody understand what those are in terms of if when the city would have to do this in order to still be able to get the 30% tax credit that the Biden administration put forward?
Not on our side. I don't know
Okay.
if anyone
Yeah.
has.
I don't think anybody has quite yet. Okay, thank you.
See, Mr. Mannion's got his hand up.
Yeah, this is a well laid out plan for the future. Being an electrician, it's smart to get this done, as you said, with the MWRA pipe there and everything. For $55,000, it gives an opportunity later on, if the city has the finances and maybe there's something available later to do this. This is a very smart idea.
Any other questions about this topic? And so perhaps we can work with Mike Donovan and team offline to see what can be done. Right.
I do think
next
that this, once we get the final GMP set, we can look at whether or not we're able to incorporate the space scope of work.
Thank you, Lynn. So, next topic, schedule review. As Brandon had mentioned early on, the team's monitoring the rate of the earthquake drain installation. There are two types, vibrational installation and drilled installation. The vibrational ones, they were averaging the first 3 days, 140 per day, so making great progress. The installation of those new supportive excavation components that I was describing, it's anticipated to begin by the end of the month. Same thing with the rigid inclusions and anticipated to begin at the end of the month, by the end of the month. Once we see those going in, and we can, similar to the earthquake drains, we can observe how quickly they proceed. Then Consigli will be able to take that information, forecast out how long to complete the ground improvements, and then look at what the overall impact to the project schedule, the construction schedule is. And so they will be able to report that back to you. But for right now, we don't have a update to our schedule diagram. Any questions about that?
I did want to say that we are hoping to get steel erected in the fall. Or begin in the fall.
Which will be another major milestone. Upcoming meetings, we've got another building committee meeting August 13th. I see Mr. Mannion's got his hand up.
Yeah, speaking of the steel, do we have any idea how much these tariffs are going to affect this building? As
Right
far as
now-
getting the steel package out of Canada?
Right now, based on the 25% tariff, we're just over 700,000 for the steel tariffs. Right now, all of our steel is sitting in the yard in Canada, waiting for us to be ready to take delivery. So if the 25% holds, we have that covered in our pre-GMP 6 cost. And, hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe it'll go down.
Okay, one more question. Was it put out to bid to United States steel companies or just Canada?
It was.
Yeah, I mean, we put it out to bid to anyone we work with, Tom. It just seems to be a lot of the big players are in Canada from a fabrication standpoint.
Mhm.
That's just in terms of capacity and what we see most in New England area. That's kind of who we have to work with.
Yeah, Brandon understood. Thank you.
So after August, we'll have our monthly meeting September 17th, October 15th. We do have, oh, I see Rich has got his hand up.
All right, I'm starting to feel like I'm a dog with a bone in me. If the tariffs come down, that money will be able to reallocate it and potentially put on the solar panels.
Yes, I mean, the money would come back to the project.
Okay, and then potentially we could do that to have the operating costs much lower for the school.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add to that we're still grappling with the cost implications of the soils issues. So like there's a lot
Okay.
on this project. So
Okay,
but of course we want to look at all the options and certainly would be great for the project to see any money come back, particularly something like the tariff. So
Greg, I think you have a quorum.
Fantastic. I see Lorraine's got her hand up.
Yes, and that was my next question. Do we have enough people to take that vote? Great minds, Lynn.
sorry for being late.
Oh, Flory's here. Oh, great. All right. Yes, I think we do. Mr. Mayor, would you like me to do a roll call?
yep, that sounds good.
Great. All right. So we know Mr. Mayor Nicholson's here. Dr.
Present.
Alvarez,
Here. Present.
Mr. Bertino, Member Castellanos,
Present.
Counselor Chakutis,
Present.
Mr. Donovan,
Present.
Ms. Drago,
Present.
Member Gately,
Present.
Ms. Gerardo, Mr. Colakidis, Counselor LaPierre, Mr. Makua,
Present.
Mr. Mannion,
Present.
Mr. Marlin,
Present.
Mayor McGee, Counselor Ramini, Ms. Miller, Ms. Philbrook, Mr. Ridley,
Present.
Ms. Ruggiero,
Present.
Mr. Smart. So yes, we do have a quorum. So, Mr. Mayor, if you'd like, we can go back to the meeting minutes, which were distributed in the packet sent out yesterday.
Yep, does anyone have a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Flory, I don't know if you were here since you were the one that asked about the future solar canopy. I just wanted to let you know that we did address that in this meeting.
Yep, I saw a slide on that.
Good.
Yep. Thank you.
Anyone? Yep, Member Castellanos.
Thank you. So I had a constituent reach out recently about some possible metal dusting impacting their pool. I want to say thank you to Lynn and the mayor, Danye, all you guys for responding pretty swiftly on that. Could you, I know there was a process, Lynn, you discussed there's a protocol and process through the insurance company that we utilize. Could you kind of talk about that a little bit? And it's on Konomo Ave too. So I don't know who else. Obviously, there's a bunch of pools around that area. I don't know who else might be impacted by that. Obviously, there's a process that we have to follow. But can you kind of describe what that is?
Yes, so we did have pre-existing condition surveys done or offered to people, and if they wanted them done, we had a third-party inspector go and do that. And that's what I said in the email about having our third-party inspector take a look. However, for the most part, we did do some air quality monitoring, and I know that Consigli was going to reach out to, I believe it was Menandoc who did that to see if we had any metal particles in the air during the time. We haven't received any other complaints from any of the other nearby pools, but we will take a look at what we gathered in the pre-existing condition survey, have someone go out and take a look, and then we'll look at our air quality monitoring to see if we had any particles leaving in the air. And we'll go through that whole process and determine if the project was at cause.
Thank you, Member Castellanos. Thank you, Lynn, for the response there. Any other questions? No. Yeah, Flory.
Just a quick question. I was wondering if will there be a facade mock-up on this project? Brandon, maybe?
So all of the mock-ups spec'd on this project, Flory, are in place. So there's no standalone mock-up specified, but we will be doing first installation mock-ups for
Okay.
everything. So ourselves with our quality department, with the design team, and also the commissioning agent will be present for first install, especially of each fenestration type. When we do our first test of each fenestration type, we'll be sure that everyone's there and involved, but there is no standalone separate mock-up.
So there's no, for the rest of our group here, so there's no way of us going on sites and actually seeing what the brick and the glass, what it'll actually look like at this point.
Not separate standalone, no.
Okay.
Until we get portions of the facade built and you start to see pieces come together, there won't be an opportunity to see all those different elements together.
That's good. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions before we I just want to share with you, we've updated, Leffield's updated the project website. Went live, I think, today. I'll just quickly show you. It's very, for those of you who are familiar with the prior website, it's very similar. But it's a newer style and maybe a little more user-friendly. So we've got multiple language options up top. We have the same categories that were previously shared: FAQs, construction progress, the team. But some of the features that we now have are these little project at a glance. So if somebody's interested in just, they have a minute and they want to learn a little bit about the project, they can scroll over these and get little tidbits of information. The FAQ page has been totally reviewed and updated. Some of the project history has been simplified, so that's a little more user-friendly. But then there's, we've got somewhere on here, I wish I remember where it was, a more detailed description. So if somebody does want to get into the weeds and learn more about the project, they can. So I encourage you all to take a look. If there's anything that you think we could do differently, please let us know. We're always happy to respond to what works best for your community. Any questions about that?
One thing I wanted to say too is this is set up to be mobile, cell phone friendly. So it's much easier to open and read on your cell phone as well.
Great point. I think that is it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Hi.
Take care, everyone.
All right, thank
Night.
you, everybody.
Thanks.
Have a nice
Thank
night.
you.
Have a
night.
good one.
Thank you. Good night.